Okay, haha, we are live. We are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to yet another happy half hour of the week. I am David Shakavich, as most of you probably know. With me and still muted as she settles out the audio is Amy. Amy is our director of client fund. Missing from the screen, obviously, is Sam Shakavich, my daughter and partner in the business. She is actually up in the mountains now, frolicking among the mountains with her girlfriends in what is apparently rather poor, uh, you know, poor connections. So we said, I will do it without her. We'll give her the day off.
I have to agree with that. Being in the mountains recently, there's no service there. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to find service up there.
Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi, So Amy and I are going to handle it today. Again, as most of you know, we're Carolina retirement planners. I am sitting here in the office at Seventh and Market in Wilmington, and for the last how many what number is this now? Are
This
we up
is
to?
this is number 101. I
This is
mean,
101.
yeah, we're aging
So
nicely or gracefully. Nicely,
So for
gracefully. Yeah.
almost 2 years, every Thursday we've come and brought you this, and we talk about something that is educational and hopefully as entertaining as we can make it. But we also talk about purely entertaining things, and one of those things is what day is it? We always like to talk about Amy. What day is today?
There's lots of days, but today I selected National Dive Bar Day because it's the
Dive
summer.
bar.
Dive bars are
Now,
great in the summer, right?
dive bar. Was that a popular topic? I know you
It
asked
was.
people to tell you their dive bars.
Yeah,
So our normal crowd is apparently dive bar aficionados, right?
they are.
Okay, and you know, give us an example. Who are the who some dive bars that people have testified for?
Okay, let me get this little fancy dancy list here. So for the dive bars, I'm just going to run them down just to be quick. We have the Palm Room, the Fat Pelican. This was a funny one. Captain Archie's in North Myrtle Beach, and it was funny just because of the description that came with it.
Well, what was
Waterline.
it? Do you remember the description?
Basically, I was saying if it's on the intercoastal, they have burgers and fries and lots of beers, but it's a great place for people watching because there's often a lot of bikers there and they have good looking waitresses. So yeah,
That always helps.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay, can't get mad at that, right? At that, it made me giggle. The Lowe's Beer Den, which I personally don't understand why more places don't have beer for shopping because it just makes you spend more, right? I mean, if I have a couple drinks, I'm like, oh, I get a little spendy. My intoxicated self doesn't realize my bank
You
account.
walk in instead of a little tray of strawberries or something, they got
Yeah,
these glasses.
yeah. I was like, that was a good one.
I
The
shop there more often.
yeah, no, or you just avoid it because that could be dangerous.
Costco can only do that.
Oh no, I don't need to spend more at Costco. No, no. Oh, let's see here. Smallest bar in Key West, Lazy Turtle in Oak Island, Diamonds, Triangle Lounge, Barbary Coast, which is a very good one. I was like, oh, I forgot. That's a good one.
Barbary Coast may not be the best dive bar, but it is certainly the oldest dive bar in town. It is the oldest bar in town. People have told me that when some bum on the street, alcoholic crawls up, says, "Where can I get a drink?" They send them there because they got cheap beer and they kind of cater to. There's anyway, you know what I
Yeah,
mean. So
yeah. The last one on my list was Lula's. So, but yeah, there
Lewis
were
is
lots of good ones.
Lewis is now my dive bar goes back. My favorite goes back. When I moved here in like 1981, there
Yeah.
was a bar. It's across from where Boca Bay, I think, may still be, next to where Keffy's used to be. It's now a bank or something. It was a shack. They tore it down, an old house or something. And it said wine suds music or wine beer music. They had to take suds down because you can't say suds apparently on a sign at least at that time in North Carolina. And I walked in, there's a guy playing a mountain dulcimer, they're playing chess. I found my place, and I used to go there. Went there for lunch when at a Corning, we'd run down for a quick roast beef sandwich as they had it. It was called Thinker's Hill.
Oh,
And they used to have pig pickings out back. It was the first place I played the hammer dulcimer. You would go in there on a cold winter night, and all the boat people living on sailboats in in Wrightsville would come in to get warm, until stay there till they close, so they go home to their cold boat. And I remember one night, one of the fishermen, commercial fishermen, came in with an octopus. And Betty, who ran this bar, and I could go on all half hour.
we have a whole happy half hour on this place.
Betty took this octopus, beat it to tenderize it, boiled it up, and passed it around. It was just a really cool place. Every Sunday night we would have a jam session.
I love it.
I ended up going home at 2 a.m. many Sunday nights just because you just couldn't leave. But anyway, my Thinker's Hill probably closed somewhere in the late 80s. But
yeah. Any dive bar that serves food is that just makes it up. That's even better.
If anybody here remembers Thinker Hill, if anybody listening, put in a message or give me a call. I'd love to chat with someone that goes back that far, because that's a lot of years. But anyhow,
that's good. We have some people commenting in with some new ones that we have. Salty Dogs, Winnie's Tavern, and I forgot about Winnie's Tavern. I didn't even know that they served. Yeah, I know they did burgers. I didn't know that they had beers and stuff. I've only been there once.
Yeah, they serve beer. I don't know if they have I don't recall a big. And of course, did someone mention the Satellite?
Nobody has mentioned. Now you just now.
Well, the Satellite is enough. If you haven't been to the Satellite, we have a jam session there every Sunday about 6:30. I play about 6:30 to 8. Old time bluegrass kind of music, but this is a place you can bring in your own food. You get a pizza from across there. They have an adjacent taco place. You can bring your dog. Dogs are allowed. It is just a wild little. You go in there a Sunday night. It's a mixture. It's a real family suitable place. There's usually a lot of little kids dancing and So if you haven't tried the Satellite, coolest bar. No TVs. Just
I like that.
Couches. It is the coolest place in Wilmington right now. So
it is. They have some good beers too. Yeah.
Come down Sunday at 6:30. If I'm in town, I'll be playing there. You'll know me. So anyway.
Yeah. We have another one that came in, the Dive in Caroline Beach. Forgot about that one. So yeah, there's lots of dive bars out there, but that's a good one.
I better get going with the purpose for us being here, which is
we're chatting longer than you and Sam. We didn't even say hi to anybody yet, but there's lots of people here. But yes, we better get into this.
Maybe here in a little bit. I got the wrong one. Let me get to this one. Maybe if I can get done in time, we can say hi to everyone. But we're going to talk about hidden cost to Medicare. You may not be aware of this, but there is, Medicare is, in fact, I'll talk about Medicare is a fee that you pay for Medicare. And that fee can change depending on your income. And there's a real trap there, and I'll explain it in the middle. But the question is, how much do you pay, and could I pay even more? And it all depends on a thing called IRMAA. This is the official thing. It's income related monthly adjusted. I think I spelled IRMAA wrong. Boy, how did I do that? I think
okay.
IRMAA has actually got to pay more attention. But I have it over here. Yeah. Okay. That's correct. So I got it wrong. Let me act together.
Wasn't there Hurricane Irma too? Maybe that's what you were thinking.
Yeah, it was close, but it was just one A. I think that was the name. IRMAA stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. Government likes to put weird, abbreviations for things. And it's a fee that you pay for Medicare on parts B and D, the hospital part, and the Medicare and the medicine and D. I'm going to concentrate on B because we don't want to talk about too much. We only have so much time and it gets a little boring. But it is a fee you pay. Now, before I go into the fee, I thought it might be kind of fun to go into a little bit of history on Medicare and how we got here and things like that. And if you read up on the history, the first person to come up is Teddy Roosevelt. President Teddy Roosevelt. Man, he's one guy I got to admire. You talk about a driven character. If you've ever read any of his biographies, he is one prolific
He got up
guy.
early in the mornings.
Yeah. 1912, he proposed that we have a nationwide medical system for old folks. He was the first one that the history records kind of say he proposed it, but it didn't fly. In 1945, President Truman pushed for it, but again, it didn't take. It didn't come in. In 1962, John F. Kennedy proposed it and put through a bill. It was signed in 1965 by Lyndon Johnson. So 1965 is kind of when we started this nationwide government-sponsored program to pay for, old folks to make sure they had medical care and they just didn't, die without any help. And I could go on to a lot of other things when they added a whole bunch of other benefits for different people. But one of the key ones was in 1988. Prior to 1988, everybody paid the same amount for Medicare. It was a flat fee for everybody. But in 88, they graded it so that the richer you were, the more you paid, the poorer you were, the less you paid. It was kind of like income tax. It went up based upon how much you paid. And then in 2006, George Bush put in Section D, which was the medical benefit, helping pay for medicine. And that also now has a grade, I think. So there's kind of a brief overview of how we got here. Now, if you go to any of the tables, they got a table like this that shows the prices and the amounts, and it's kind of busy and also I kind of just said, let me help look at the married table and explain how this works. If you're single, fear not, just take kind of all the numbers here in this column and divide by 2, and that's how much the singles are. But if you're married and you earned over $1, you file it, you make money, anything more than $1, you're going to each month pay an additional $170 for Medicare Part B. And that if you multiply that times 12, you get $2,041. That's how much you pay a year. And by the way, that's how much for your Medicare costs this year. It's what you earned 2 years ago. Medicare, actually, what you earn this year will determine your Medicare 2 years from now. Makes it even more complicated. So they have this 2 year gap in Medicare. That's what. Now, this is the gotcha. If you earn $1 over 182,000, or actually you earn 182, you will immediately pay $68 more a month for your Medicare, which is $816 more a year above the 2,000, or you'll pay $28.57. Now, this is the married table, remember? So if you two are both over 65 and both getting Medicare, it's not 816 for you, it's like 1,632 because you've got 2 people. So doubles for each of you. or it goes up for each year. So we need to double this. Again, this 182, if you're single, it's about 91,000, at which point you'll pay that extra 68. So single folks, just divide this by 2. Just going to show 1 because we can figure it out. If you between 182 and 228, you pay that 68. If you hit 228 in your, and I'll talk about it in a minute, your modified adjusted gross income, you got another 101 added. So you're now up to another $1,200. And so your yearly fee is $4,000. And again, you can see if you go 228 to 284, we add another 105. If we go from 284 to 340, we add another 102. And then from 340 to 750, we add another 34. We're up to $7,000 a year total Medicare that you pay. And so this is based upon modified adjusted gross income. I'll talk about what that is in a minute, but for most people, it's just your plain adjusted gross income. That's before you take any of those deductions, tax deductions, standard deductions, itemized. It's just the raw big number you have. And so you got to be really careful. If you're flirting near this 182, 181, if you go to 182, bang, you're now paying an extra $800 or maybe $1,600 a year. So you really got to watch this. It's a gotcha. This is what they deduct from your Social Security. So bang, all of a sudden you see, you see things go up. So this, I'll talk about another thing in a moment where many people, this enters in. And one thing we look at when we're doing tax planning, what is this modified adjusted gross income? And there's a couple of them. There's one you use for Social Security. There's this one, and they all have slight differences. But what it really is your regular adjusted gross income, all the money you earn. It includes interest from muni funds, tax-free interest that you get. So muni bonds, if you've got municipal bonds, they will add that in to determine if we're going to increase the fee you pay. They're not going to tax the muni bonds. They're just going to add it in to see, do we increase the fees on your Medicare, sneaky devils. You actually add back certain educational deductions. I won't go into them all here, and you also, if you have any offshore investments that you may not pay taxes on, they may add the income from that. So it's a little complicated. You can't find it on your tax return. It doesn't appear on your tax return. It's just calculated in the background, and the government uses it to determine what you pay. So for most people, unless they got muni bonds, most people, it's your regular before tax deductions adjusted gross income. Now, why is this stuck? Oh boy, this is interesting. There we go. Now, one question you may ask, you may find that all of a sudden you're paying too much, or you've been notified, as you may have been recently. This is actually a true story. One of my clients ran into this just now. They, in fact, called today. It was an interesting coincidence. You may find that they're telling you got to pay more, and you don't know, why is it? Why am I paying more, and what can I do? One frequent cause of this is you were working. You were 63, you worked till you were 64 and earning, I don't know, you were earning $200,000, you and your spouse were earning $200,000 in wages, and that's higher than the $181,000 limit. So the $200,000 you earned 2 years ago, all of a sudden jacks up and insists that you pay all that extra money. If you had a really good salary, it could be even higher. That's one of the common reasons that it can occur. Well, what can you do? Well, one of the things you can do is you can file because you had what's called a life-changing event, and you can apply. And a life-changing event, this is one of the forms, this is infamous SSA-44, a form you can fill out. There's several pages to it, but these are the things, the life-changing events you can have. You can get married, you can get divorced, you can die, your spouse can die, your work can stop. As my clients, they retired a couple years ago, but they're still counting that. You can, work reduction, you can all of a sudden be working less. You can lose some income producing property, maybe the rental place you had burned down, pension went away, something else. Those things you can apply to the government and say, hey, I was working 2 years ago, I'm not working now, you shouldn't be charging me this. Here is a key thing to remember. You've only got 60 days after you receive the letter from the government telling you what your Medicare fee is. You only have 60 days to file. And you can fill out this form. You can also call this number for Social Security, 800-772-1213, and sort of appeal verbally. I don't know, I have not tried calling it. I don't know someone, I don't know how long it takes, but you need to do this appeal. When I dug into what the appeal process was, it gets even more interesting. Let's say you appeal and they turn you down. Well, you can disagree and you can challenge that and say, I want a review. And let's say the review still turns you down. You actually have a level 4 review and a level 5 review. You can keep appealing. They even have this appeals process chart. This is one of the government sites. This is the chart. I know you can't see it, but this is appeal level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you could read this, it would say that this is you are appealing to a federal district court on your appeal. So it can go that high. So this is kind of the appeal process that we have for this. So if you've just stopped working or you've had one of these windfalls, you need to pay attention to this. Now, here are some other cases where you may pay more, and sometimes you may want to. If you do a Roth conversion, the 22% bracket ends for most married couples around that 180, maybe a little bit more. If you exceed that 181, you may cause that extra fee. That fee only applies for if you do it 1 year and the next year you don't do a Roth conversion, the fee only applies for 1 year. It doesn't keep going. So you may say, hey, I know I'm going to have to pay extra Medicare, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want to get more money into the tax-free world because I'm worried taxes are going to go up. The other thing is if you are younger than 63, boy, those years you want to really do big conversions into the 22-24% region because that won't cause your Medicare to go up. It's not till age 63 that happens. And we have some clients that are younger in their 50s or early 60s, and man, we're doing big conversions because we want to make hay while we can. There's some other things you might be able to do. Let's say you're 70 or 70 and a half, or let's say you're 72 and you have a big RMD, and that RMD is driving you just over that limit. One of the things you can do is a qualified charitable distribution on that RMD, and that will count towards your RMD, but won't show up on your tax return and won't increase your IRMAA. There's some other charitable strategies you can do as well. They get a little complicated because just giving money to charity, if it's below the line deduction, you don't see it in that adjusted gross income, it may not count. And more than I can cover here in half an hour. Also, you may want to say, be very careful as to where you're taking income from whether you're taking it from taxable money or not, you're doing kind of the tax dance if you're close to one of those limits. So there's a lot of thinking and tax strategies you want to do to say, what can I do to keep my Medicare part fees to go? And there is a Part D for medicine, and it has a similar table, much smaller numbers. I didn't go into it because we wouldn't have time anyway. So anyway, that is my little spiel here, a little happy half hour on perhaps not a most fascinating topic, but one that's important. If you're not 65 now, at one point this will be important to you. You need to understand what it means, how it works. You got a problem, or a question, or always call us and we can help crunch the numbers. You can consult with accountants as well. They're the ones that really can help with those strategies. So that is
my head's spinning. I was like, what? There's so many rules and so many different things. How crazy.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
Wow.
It is. That's just. So I try to make it as simple and as entertaining as I possibly could.
Yeah.
If I had a little more time, I could have got pictures of Teddy Roosevelt and all these people.
I didn't even know you had that many appeals. I mean, 5 times. It was like, wait, what? Wait, what?
Why don't you say some highs to people?
Okay.
Jessica's going to come in and do our drawing today.
Well, I have to say hi to my mom first because that's my mom. So Teresa, my mom, is here. Brad is here. Fernando is here. Hi, Nina. Hi, Bruce. Miranda. Miranda's here all the time. Hi, Miranda. Dan and Barb, they're here. They're in the mountains. They get reception. Jay is here. Ed is here. Hi, Pat. Rich is here. Kristen, she's upstairs watching. Our very own Kristen. Let's see here. Nancy is here. Wayne is here. Lynn is here. So yeah, we had let's see, Janice is here. We had a lot of people here today. So I can keep going, but I know we're getting up to the most fun part.
You all coming if we didn't have a chance to
I know. I was just trying to run through and say hi really quick. Yeah.
I always somehow manage to do it just so it fits right in there. We're real close. This is, of course, Jessica. She joined us 2 months ago.
Yes.
Something like that. She is we introduced her on an earlier. She is our new director of first impressions. If you come in the door, she'll greet you, and she's been this very talented woman. Can do everything, from figuring out how to configure the computer. She's putting new vinyl on our chairs where the corners have worn out, and she's.
Right?
This woman of many talents. But one of her talents is picking a winner, and she's going to reach into her box here where she's got all the
love it.
Entries and see who won.
You ready?
We're ready.
Did that light up?
It does.
Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. I'm impressed. I just feel like that's magic. I don't know. You just wowed me even more.
Thank you.
I love it.
Electrician too.
Oh, I love it.
Let's see. We have Elizabeth M. is our wine winner.
Yay!
Elizabeth M, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. We will be calling you to find out what wines you like, and very shortly a employee of the U.S. government will come by in a uniform and drop it right off at your door. We love giving 2 bottles of wine to everybody. Unless you're really craving beer, we can do that too. But
I did that once for somebody recently. It was the first time ever. I was like, can we do this? Can I? Yeah, called Fermento. They're so great. So yeah.
Remember, you can see these and the other 100 episodes. If you go to Carolina Retirement Planners under events, they're there. If you look for our YouTube channel, they're there. And next week, I think what I'm going to do next week is, we are about midway through the year, and the first half of this year has been I won't say exciting. I don't know whether to say exciting, excruciating, depressing, but it's not been a good half year for the market. You have to go back to 1970 to get a year of 6 months that were worse. So I thought it might be a good time to stand back and look and say, you know, who were the winners? Were there any winners? Were the losers? What do things look like? I'll break out my crystal ball here and others and say, what do we think's going to happen in the future? But kind of do a midpoint checkpoint on how all the stock market stuff is doing and whatever entertaining things we can add to it. So you won't want to miss that. Tell your friends next Thursday at 4:30. And with that, I think we are done. You know, everybody, we didn't have time to talk about booze, but you know,
Oh
we'll
yeah. I'm
talk
drinking
about
Truly.
bars, you know. So we
It's
will
good.
see you. We'll see you next Thursday for Happy Half Hour.
Yeah. Bye everyone. Take care. Have a great
Bye-bye.
weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.